We got a little something different here today from Syndicate Collectibles. We've got the Series 1 of Double Dragon action figures, but oddly enough, we also have Jeff from Double Dragon, which was not part of Series 1. He's not on the back of the box. The company that sent me these don't even have him on the website. So how do we have Jeff? What is Jeff? Because he doesn't have anybody on the back of his boxes, we'll see here in a minute, besides Willie, Jimmy, and Billy. But nonetheless, we're going to crack them open. We're going to look at them. So get ready for a review of Double Dragon Series 1, maybe 1.5 from Syndicate Collectibles. And you know Double Dragon is probably my favorite video game ever, so I'm very much looking forward to this. Really quick here, I will show you that when you unbox these, they have the Double Dragon NES logo, or I should say cover art, on the back of the inner box. Before we crack all these out of their packages, we'll take a look at the individual packages. Here we have Billy Lee. These are 7-inch action figures. Probably a little bit bigger than Mattel's WWE line, but right in there with the Power Town figures that came out. But nonetheless, here's a look in the package here. All three figures are going to come with the exact same gimmicks here, although Willie has his machine gun and some other stuff. But Billy, Jimmy, and Jeff come with a baseball bat, the throwing knives, the can, and 6 other hands go with the 2 that are already on them. This package has the picture of Billy from the video game. The side is a little bit of Kung Fu action with the arcade imagery. On this side, you get the other shot from the arcade. The logo here looks a little bit looks a little like, I don't know, looks a little pixelated to me a little bit. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but it does fit in with the game. You'll find your UPC codes and whatnot on the bottom. Flip it to the back, and in this case, we'll have the write-up about Billy. Billy Lee is the twin brother and fighting partner of Jimmy Lee. Training with Jimmy since their youth, Billy is the master of Susitsu Kin martial arts, which he uses to protect his girlfriend, Marion, from the Black Warriors gang. Marion is not available, but hey, maybe we'll get her next. Here we have the package for Jimmy Lee here. Always one of my favorite ones to play with just because he was red, and usually if you play the first game or whatnot, you know you don't get the red one unless you're player 2, although I think later on that might have been changed in some of the later games. But here he is, dark-haired, same stuff that Billy has, as we done talked about. Character selection thing there. Same packaging on the side. You might remember in the, I believe it was the original arcade game, Jimmy ended up being like the one that betrayed Billy, and he's the one that was responsible for all this stuff. But that, of course, was erased when we got to the NES version, and so on. Jimmy Lee is the twin brother and fighting partner of Billy Lee. Training with Billy since their youth, Jimmy is a master of Sukitsu Kin, martial arts, which he uses against the various members of the evil Black Warriors gang. So pretty much about the same write-up. Again, there is Billy and Willie on the back. Oh, Machine Gun Willie. And before we get to Willie, let's talk Jeff. He's kind of an underboss of the whole gang here. I believe he's in the second one. I think he's like the level 2 boss of the second arcade game. I think he's recolored in Double Dragon 2. He's actually a whole different character, I think, in Double Dragon 2. I don't even know if he even made the NES version. If he did, he was just, I think, an easier person to beat, although it's been a while since I played it. Like I said, big surprise that he's in this set because I haven't seen nobody review him on the internet. I haven't seen nothing on the internet about him. When they did a con, I didn't see nothing about Jeff there. I can see why they did make him, because he's basically just a repaint of the mold for Billy and Jimmy. He's got the same gimmicks, same hand, same can. Looks very similar to the twins, only has brown hair, which the other ones have blonde and black. Other than that, there's that. We have the same side packaging. And on the back, he's there by himself. There's the original Series 1, and then here he is by himself out of nowhere. Jeff, a lower boss of the Black Warriors gang. Jeff always proves to be an exceptionally tough opponent against Jimmy and Billy Lee, able to master fighting techniques, and he has been involved in kidnapping Billy's girlfriend, Marion. So as you know, when that door opens up and they walk up and they punch her in the gut and they carry her off, he's one of the ones in the gang. But it is odd. This figure is odd because, like I said, I'm sure it will be wide released soon, if not by the time this video hits. But I've not seen nothing about Jeff anywhere on the internet. Even Like, they went to a different company to send these to me for review. Um, I knew they were going to send the other three. This one was a surprise. And when I seen it, I had to double check because I was like, Jeff. I didn't know there was a Jeff. And even the website that sent them does not have Jeff listed. So this figure's kind of a mystery. Now, it looks cool to have it. It's a different character, so it's always great. But that being said, he's still basically just the Lee brothers with a different head. Last but certainly not least, it's Willie. When I was a kid, I always referred to him as Machine Gun Willie. And of course, this figure comes with extra hands and a trusty machine gun. Willie looking a little bit like Madman Mars, but jacked, is here. Like I said, one of the toughest characters to beat. If I didn't have some kind of a cheat when I played the arcade version of the game, I never could get past Willie. There he is there. Side is the same. On the back, it says, Willie, armed with an exceptionally deadly machine gun, Willie Mackey is the formidable boss of the gang known as the Black Warriors, who dominate the criminal underworld of New York City after the war. I don't think I had a clue that his last name was Mackey, and I'm pretty sure I just went my whole life calling him Machine Gun Willie. But hey, the man's got a last name, so we might as well know what it is. He's also going to be the only one that we take out of the package here that's going to have any different articulation, because like I said, the other three have the same mode, but he looks bigger and he's got a little bit of a different mode going on. One thing being this thing on his shoulder, looking very Road Warrior-ish. So yeah, we'll see what we're dealing with. Okay, since Willie's the only one that has like any variety of weapons and hands that are different from the other ones, we'll go over these first. He's got these open hands that you can interchange with, and he's got two like kind of open hands that I'm assuming goes for the machine gun. And of course, he's got his machine gun. This part here seems pretty well in there, so you ain't got to worry about it flopping out, I don't believe. But that is his big bad gun. That being said, now let's take a look at him. We're going to use this World Gone Wild from Schaefer Publishing, or Schiffer Publishing, whatever it is, as a good stand here. You'll see Willie. Looks like I said a whole lot like Madman Mars in a way. He's got this thing attached to his shoulder. I think it could be removed, but I'm not going to try to. All the joints on these figures are pinless, which is cool. They've all got an ab crunch, but the ab crunch does not ab crunch very well. Sad to say that. They can do the splits. They've got some pretty stiff knee movement, as you could hear. They've got the foot ball movement. They've got the elbows, which I don't think they're, if they're double, I'm not sure. Maybe they are, but they are out of the pack at least a little bit on the stiff side. I'm afraid I'm going to break that. Actually, the whole movement is a little bit stiff out of the package. He's got the butterfly arms that, again, are kind of stiff out of the package. You can see the mold here. He's a pretty hulking fella here. He is definitely bigger than the other three that we're going to show here in a moment. And he's got that going on with the legs. They're kind of hanging a little bit there, but it doesn't seem like it hurts him very much. The arm doesn't really have a shrivel. It has a wrist shrivel, or, wrist shrivel, but no real shrivel at the forearm, or there is supposed to be a little movement there. But like I said, we're just going to have to work with it here because he is stiff out of the package. But he does stand well. Even as much as I've kind of threw him around there, he still stands very well. That being said, let's get some poses with him with his alternate hands and his gun. Okay, so we went with the gun holding hand, which the finger does not go around the trigger, and we went with the palm hand to kind of palm the gun. But as you can see, it doesn't quite bend in there enough. And I played with it a little bit before I hit roll here, so you could get a perfect pose of like him holding the gun while holding the barrel with the other hand. But you do get that nonetheless. You can get him to side hold it like he does in the game. The figure does move better than maybe what it showed a minute ago, but you have to break things free a little bit because it's a little bit stiff fresh out of the pack. Still though, it's a cool figure. I love Double Dragon, so to me this is just even better. The head, as you can see in a minute, it will spin all the way around if you want it to. I don't know why you want to, because he's not possessed or anything. But yeah, He looks pretty cool. Now we're just going to go through one of the movements for one of the other figures because they all have the same movement, and then we're going to show you some poses with them as well. But yeah, Willie, you know, you kind of want him to be able to hold that machine gun a little bit better. Other than that, can't complain too much. Hey, before we get into Billy, Jimmy, and Jeff, they all three come with the very same barrel, which, this is the barrel in the game that you just launch at people like that. So yeah, it's kind of hollow sounding, not really heavy, but it comes with all three of them, as well as this baseball bat. And it is the exact same baseball bat, same color, same mode, same everything for all three. They definitely reuse stuff for this, but hey, I can't necessarily blame them because in the video game they reused the same spirits or whatnot as well, so can't complain. You get two of these little butterfly knives. Well, not butterfly knives, but two of these little knives. Like, they would come and either slash you with it or they would just throw it at you from across the screen. You get two of them per figure. You get one stick of dynamite with the fuse lit, and you get a couple of fists to put on, a couple of open hands to put on, and a couple of, like, other open hands. Although these hands, as you can see here, is made to where you can, I can find the hole here. Where is it? Right there. You can hook it to this to where it can hold the can. So yeah, pretty neat there. All three have that. Starting with Billy Lee here. You'll see his face, which look at that face because I'm pretty sure well, he just hit the ground, but I'm pretty sure his brother, and his enemy all have pretty well the same face, with just the hair modes being different. We got the open jean jacket. All three have that, just a different color. Exact same mode you'll see on all of these. Movement wise, the crunch don't crunch that well, but it does crunch. The same movement that Willie had, just a little bit better, I think, in some regard. The knees are double jointed. Also, the hands are a little bit more in the double jointed way. Like they have this little roll to them that I missed on the Machine Gun Willie thing. That hand's trying to pop out, so be careful with that. Maybe. Got the wrist tape going. Head is pretty good. You can see there. You can twist it. You can twist it pretty well all the way around if you want to. Good neck movement for poses. So yeah, the hand just fell off. So yeah, maybe be a little bit careful about that because I straight out the box and the hand fell off. But a little stiff as well as Willie was. But they do stand pretty well for the most part. And they all three have the exact same movement, so there's no use to show you the movement. We'll just get into a little more details with some other things about them. Just so you know, I'm not BSing you. Yes, they have the exact same modes, just a different color. There is the original two there, Billy and Jimmy Lee. Faces look very similar, but then Jeff seems to also have a very similar face as them as well. So yeah, not a whole lot of facial feature variety. Their hair is even similar on these, only you can tell the side parts are a little bit different, and he has a swoosh. And this hairstyle for Jimmy Lee. I'll give you some up closes of the faces of these. Again with Billy Lee, rocking the almost Billy Idol hairstyle. And Jeff, very similar hairstyle. If you want to do poses with these, you can't go wrong with grab their head and give them a knee, which you can get some bases on there to make them stand up better. But yeah, you can get some of those nice little poses out of these if you wish. You can use the hand to get the cool I'm fixing to throw a barrel on you pose, which looks pretty neat there. You can get that going. Well, there you have it all in all with the variety there. We can see Jeff ready to throw his dynamite that all three of those guys come with. You've got Billy with the knife. You've got Jimmy wielding the baseball bat. And you have Willie with the machine gun. So yeah, there's definitely, if you want to put them in poses and put them on your shelf, there's a lot you can do with these, which is good. Some of the hands are a little loose, I think. Some of the weapons, the knives, may be kind of easy to lose if you don't watch it. The bat, you'll have to open up the fist a little bit to stick the barrel, not the barrel, but the handle of it in there. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of cool things you can do with these if you just want to set them on the shelf, which is probably what I'm going to do with mine. Okay, I busted out a stand here just to talk about these for Billy, Jimmy, and Jeff because they do have a little bit of trouble standing on uneven ground, and this is not necessarily the most flat surface, so a little bit of extra help for them. Willie, on the other hand, has no problem standing whatsoever, and you'll notice he is probably an inch bigger than them, so while they're 7 inches, he looks to be about 8. I don't really know if him being that much of a giant, but hey, it is what it is. It adds a uniqueness to the figure. I do hope they continue with these. There's really not much you can complain about with these, other than obviously with these three, they're supposed to be like they are. But when you have them in hand, there's not a whole lot of variety. So basically, you want to have all three of them, but you're paying like $50 for a repaint and a different head at that point. I think you can get away with that with Billy and Jimmy right off the bat. Jeff, on the other hand, I don't know if you want to go and get one like that right now. I think maybe I would have saved him for a little bit down the line, although I don't know how many of these we're going to get. I think at this point we probably have exceeded the use of the mold for these. One thing that nicks me a little bit about them is the head color and the skin color on the chest is different. I don't know if you can see it there, but that's a little bit annoying. But hey, what you going to do? Other than that, it's that way there too. That's just how it's going to be. Um, if the line continues, and I hope it does. I hope we get to see people like maybe Marion, the chick that throws the the chick that has Dynamite Six and the little whip with the mohawk that's in the games. I hope we see her. A Bobo. I think everybody wants to see a Bobo, but if he is already that big, how much bigger is a Bobo going to be? Maybe about the same. I know the leaders tend to be a bit bigger, the stage bosses, if you will. But yeah, I mean, they're not perfect. Some of the hands do kind of fall off pretty easily when you're, moving them around. If you do have them loose and on display, this could fall out of a hand and be easy to lose. Everything else, I think, is pretty solid. Can't complain. This is, like I said, I want to make sure I get the name right here. This is from Syndicate Collectibles. They've got the rights to a number of interesting lines. Maybe they'll give us figures in this vein for them. I don't know for sure. I do appreciate them sending these along. I'm a big Double Dragon fan, so I would have definitely purchased them if they wasn't sent to me for review. Um, because I was into the G.I. Joe line. I mean, stuff like this, different lines are stuff I liked when I was a kid. They get my attention. Something like this is definitely something that would have grabbed my attention. The price point's a little steep, but hey, there's a lot of work that goes into these, even if these are the same modes. But you can't. Willie is probably the star of this line, so you can't really go wrong with that. But yeah, are you going to pick these up? Do you already have them? Or, can you think of some Double Dragon figures that probably need to be released? Let me know below. But these are available now. Jeff, probably available now somewhere. If not, will be soon. But yeah, they're pretty cool.